Throughout history, the shadowy underworld of organized crime has shaped nations, fueled economies, and built empires cloaked in secrecy. These families didn't just rise to power, they rewrote the rules of power itself. They amassed untold fortunes, built loyal legions, and orchestrated global networks that rivaled governments. Today, we delve deep into the lives and legacies of the 10 wealthiest mafia families to ever walk the thin line between infamy and immortality. From the blood-soaked streets of Sicily to the glittering casinos of Las Vegas, this is a journey into the world where crime became art, and money meant everything. The video will unfold with the narrator guiding viewers through the timeline and influence of each family. 10. The Medici family, Italy, 1434 to 1737. The Medici family, a name synonymous with power and wealth, controlled Florence and much of Italy during the Renaissance, laying the foundations for modern banking and influencing the politics of Europe for over 3 centuries. Their financial empire was built through the Medici Bank, which was not only one of the largest banks in Europe but also the most innovative, introducing double-entry bookkeeping and a credit system that allowed monarchs and popes to finance wars and grand projects. At their height, they were the financiers of the Catholic Church, essentially controlling Europe's spiritual and political nerve center. The Medici's power wasn't limited to banking. Through calculated political alliances and marriages, they embedded themselves into the fabric of European aristocracy, creating a dynasty that produced 4 popes, 2 French queens, and countless influential figures. Their control over Florence was absolute, as they effectively ruled the city-state while maintaining the facade of a republic. While not directly engaging in violence, their tactics to eliminate political enemies often bordered on criminal, with conspiracies, assassinations, and intimidation ensuring their dominance. The family's crimes were more systemic than overt. They manipulated markets, crushed rivals through economic pressure, and rigged elections to maintain their grip on power. These actions blurred the lines between business and corruption, laying the groundwork for what would later be recognized as organized crime strategies. The legacy of the Medici family is monumental. They were patrons of the arts, funding works by Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, and Botticelli, effectively shaping the cultural Renaissance. Their architectural projects transformed Florence into one of the most beautiful cities in the world. However, their influence extended beyond art and culture. They set the template for how wealth could be wielded to control politics and society. Even after their decline, the Medici name remains a symbol of how financial ingenuity and political ruthlessness can shape history. 9. The Gambino family, USA, 1930-present. The Gambino family stands as one of the most powerful and enduring mafia families in American history, dominating the criminal underworld for nearly a century. Their origins date back to the 1930s when Italian-American immigrants organized themselves into what would later be known as the Five Families of New York. The Gambinos rose to prominence under the leadership of Carlo Gambino in the 1950s, who transformed the family into the most powerful crime syndicate in the country. The family's immense wealth was derived from a diverse range of illegal activities, including drug trafficking, loan sharking, illegal gambling, and extortion. However, what truly set him apart was their infiltration of legitimate industries, particularly construction and labor unions. By controlling unions like the Teamsters, they secured lucrative contracts and kickbacks, effectively siphoning billions into their coffers over decades. Their economic influence extended far beyond the streets, reaching into corporate boardrooms and government projects. The Gambino family's power was built on fear and loyalty. They maintained a strict code of silence, known as omerta, and enforced it with brutal efficiency. Their reign was marked by infamous acts of violence, such as the murder of rival mobsters, informants, and even disloyal associates. High-profile hits like the assassination of Paul Castellano in 1985, ordered by John Gotti, solidified their reputation for ruthlessness. Gotti, known as the Dapper Don, brought the family unprecedented media attention but also made him a target for law enforcement. Despite numerous indictments, betrayals, and leadership changes, the Gambino family remains active today. Their legacy is one of adaptation and survival, as they've managed to maintain influence in both criminal and legitimate enterprises. The Gambino name has become synonymous with the American Mafia, representing the enduring allure and danger of organized crime in the United States. 8. Yamaguchi-gumi, Japan, 1915-present. The Yamaguchi-gumi is not only Japan's largest Yakuza syndicate but also the world's wealthiest and most structured organized crime group. Founded in 1915, the syndicate grew from humble beginnings as a labor union for dock workers to an empire of organized crime, wielding both fear and influence across Japan and beyond. Today, it boasts tens of thousands of members and generates billions annually through a mix of illegal and semi-legitimate businesses. Financially, the Yamaguchi-gumi thrives on diverse revenue streams, including drug trafficking, extortion, gambling, and loan sharking. What sets them apart from other organized crime groups is their penetration into legitimate industries such as real estate, construction, and finance. They exploit Japan's bureaucratic loopholes and societal norms to launder money and secure assets, making them an economic powerhouse. Their ability to operate openly in Japanese society, often with their headquarters publicly marked, highlights the unique relationship between the Yakuza and the state. Power within the Yamaguchi-gumi is maintained through a rigid hierarchical structure, with the Oyabun-Koban relationship at its core, fostering loyalty and obedience among its members. Their influence extends beyond the criminal underworld. They've infiltrated politics and business, using their wealth to bribe officials and secure lucrative contracts. During disasters like the Kobe earthquake in 1995, they even provided aid to affected communities, blurring the lines between criminality and benevolence to maintain public support. The crimes of the Yamaguchi-gumi are as ruthless as they are diverse. They are deeply involved in drug smuggling, human trafficking, cybercrime, and violent enforcement tactics. Their reach extends globally, with operations in Asia, the Americas, and Europe, making them a transnational criminal organization. However, they've managed to avoid significant international crackdowns by operating with a level of discipline and discretion uncommon in other syndicates. The legacy of the Yamaguchi-gumi is one of paradox. They are a symbol of both Japan's criminal underworld and its unique cultural approach to organized crime, where syndicates are semi-tolerated and even play a role in society. Their influence shows no signs of waning, and they remain a powerful force in the global landscape of organized crime. 7. The Solntsevskaya Bratva, Russia, 1980s present. The Solntsevskaya Bratva is one of the most formidable criminal organizations to emerge from the ashes of the Soviet Union. Formed in the 1980s in Moscow, this syndicate capitalized on the chaos of the post-Soviet era, growing into a sprawling empire that spans continents. Unlike traditional mafia families, the Bratva operates more as a loose network of semi-autonomous criminal cells, making it incredibly difficult for law enforcement to dismantle. By the 1990s, they had become the wealthiest criminal group in Russia, with an estimated annual revenue in the billions. Their wealth stems from a variety of illicit ventures, including drug trafficking, arms smuggling, human trafficking, and cybercrime. Additionally, they have deeply infiltrated legitimate industries such as energy, shipping, and finance, using these sectors to launder their ill-gotten gains. Their control over Russian oil and gas resources, along with extensive investments in Europe, has made them not only a criminal powerhouse but also a significant economic player. Their operations extend far beyond Russia, reaching into Europe, the Americas, and even Africa, allowing them to maintain a global footprint. Power within the Solntsevskaya Bratva is enforced through a brutal combination of fear, loyalty, and corruption. They have been known to eliminate rivals and uncooperative officials with ruthless efficiency, often employing assassinations, bombings, and kidnappings. Their influence is bolstered by their ability to buy off government officials, police, and even high-ranking politicians, ensuring their operations run smoothly. This combination of violence and corruption has allowed them to dominate not only the Russian underworld but also legitimate sectors of the economy. The crimes of the Solntsevskaya Bratva are as vast as they are varied. They are major players in the global drug trade, particularly with cocaine and heroin distribution networks. They have also been implicated in human trafficking rings that exploit vulnerable populations across Eastern Europe and Asia. More recently, they have become leaders in cybercrime, launching sophisticated attacks on banks, corporations, and even governments, stealing millions in the process. The legacy of the Solntsevskaya Bratva is one of fear and omnipresence. They symbolize the rise of organized crime in the vacuum left by the Soviet Union, operating with a level of impunity rarely seen elsewhere. Their reach into both criminal and legitimate enterprises ensures that their influence will persist, making them one of the most enduring and dangerous criminal organizations in the modern world. 6. The Sinaloa Cartel, Mexico, 1980s present. The Sinaloa Cartel, founded in the 1980s, is one of the most infamous and wealthy criminal organizations in history. Based in Mexico, it rose to prominence under the leadership of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman and Ismael El Mayo Zambada, becoming the most powerful drug cartel in the world. The cartel's wealth is staggering, with revenues estimated in the billions annually, primarily derived from trafficking cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine, and marijuana into the United States and other global markets. What sets the Sinaloa Cartel apart is their sophisticated smuggling infrastructure. They pioneered the use of tunnels under the US-Mexico border, as well as fleets of trucks, boats, planes, and even submarines to move drugs undetected. Their dominance in the global drug trade allowed them to outmaneuver and outgun rival cartels, solidifying their control over key territories in Mexico. The cartel also diversified its operations, engaging in money laundering, extortion, and human trafficking to expand its revenue streams. The Sinaloa Cartel's power lies in its deep networks of bribery and corruption. They've successfully infiltrated Mexican law enforcement, military, and political institutions, ensuring protection for their operations. Their ability to co-opt government officials has made it incredibly difficult to prosecute them, even after high-profile arrests. However, their power is also enforced through brutal violence. The cartel has waged bloody wars against rival groups, leaving thousands dead and entire communities terrorized. The crimes committed by the Sinaloa Cartel are unparalleled in scale and brutality. They are responsible for countless murders, kidnappings, and acts of torture, often using these methods to intimidate rivals and civilians. Their role in the opioid crisis has had devastating effects, particularly in the United States, where fentanyl, a drug they produce and smuggle, has caused a public health emergency. Despite the arrest and extradition of El Chapo, the cartel remains active and highly organized, with Zambada and others continuing to lead its operations. The legacy of the Sinaloa Cartel is one of both infamy and resilience. They represent the devastating impact of organized crime on global communities and economies. Their operations have forced international governments to reassess their strategies in combating drug trafficking and organized crime. Despite ongoing efforts to dismantle them, the cartel's adaptability and sheer scale ensure that their influence will persist for years to come. 5. The Genovese family, USA, 1892-present. The Genovese family, often referred to as the Ivy League of organized crime, has been one of the most influential and wealthiest of New York's 5 families for over a century. Their origins trace back to the early 1900s, during the waves of Italian immigration to the United States. Originally founded as the Morello Gang, the family evolved under leaders like Lucky Luciano and Frank Costello, becoming a highly structured criminal empire. By the mid-20th century, they were considered the most powerful crime family in America, operating in both the shadows and the boardrooms. The Genovese family built their wealth through a wide array of illegal enterprises, including loan sharking, illegal gambling, extortion, and drug trafficking. However, what truly set him apart was their infiltration of legitimate industries. They controlled unions, extorted businesses, and manipulated city construction projects to rake in billions. Their control over key industries such as waste management, trucking, and even stock market fraud ensured a steady flow of income while minimizing exposure to law enforcement. Power within the Genovese family was achieved through cunning and a focus on subtlety. Unlike other families that attracted attention with flamboyant behavior, the Genoveses operated under a strict code of secrecy. They enforced discipline and loyalty among members, ensuring that betrayal was rare. Their influence extended beyond New York, with operations in New Jersey, Florida, and even international ventures. Their control of unions, particularly the Teamsters, gave them significant leverage in both political and corporate spheres. Their crimes were vast and sophisticated. While they engaged in traditional mob activities like racketeering and contract killings, they were also pioneers in white-collar crime, orchestrating complex schemes that defrauded companies and governments. Their approach was surgical. They avoided unnecessary violence, relying instead on intimidation, corruption, and economic coercion to achieve their goals. The Genovese family's legacy is one of resilience and adaptability. Despite countless legal crackdowns and the arrests of major leaders, the family remains active today. Their operations are quieter but no less effective, and they continue to be a force in organized crime. Their enduring success demonstrates the power of discipline, discretion, and innovation in the criminal world, solidifying their reputation as the most sophisticated of America's mafia families. 4. The Camorra, Italy, 1600s present. The Camorra, one of the oldest and most dangerous criminal organizations in the world, traces its roots back to 17th century Naples. Unlike other mafias, which operate under a strict hierarchical structure, the Camorra is a loose network of clans, each with its own leadership and territory. This decentralized nature has allowed the group to adapt and survive for centuries, making it one of the most enduring criminal enterprises in history. The Camorra's wealth comes from a wide array of illegal activities, including drug trafficking, extortion, counterfeiting, and money laundering. They are infamous for their control over Naples' waste management industry, using it to extort businesses and dump toxic waste for profit. Their economic influence extends far beyond Italy, with operations in Europe, Africa, and the Americas. They have also infiltrated legitimate businesses, including construction, retail, and even renewable energy, allowing them to launder billions in illicit revenue. Their power lies in their ability to control entire neighborhoods through fear and intimidation. The Camorra has a reputation for extreme violence, often engaging in bloody feuds with rival clans and even within their own ranks. They maintain loyalty through a mix of rewards and brutal punishments, ensuring that betrayal is met with swift and public retribution. Their influence extends to local politics, where they bribe or intimidate officials to protect their interests. The crimes committed by the Camorra are as diverse as they are destructive. They have been implicated in massive drug trafficking operations, arms smuggling, and human trafficking. Their involvement in environmental crimes, such as illegal waste dumping, has caused severe ecological damage in southern Italy, leading to health crises in affected communities. Their willingness to engage in any profitable venture, no matter how harmful, sets them apart as one of the most ruthless criminal organizations in the world. The Camorra's legacy is one of chaos and destruction. Unlike more structured mafias, their decentralized nature has made them difficult to eradicate, as new clans continually rise to replace those that are dismantled. They are a symbol of the deep-rooted corruption and inequality that plague southern Italy, and their influence continues to hinder progress in the region. Despite decades of crackdowns, the Camorra remains a significant force in global organized crime. 3. The Ndrangheta, Italy, 1860s present. The Ndrangheta, originating from the southern Italian region of Calabria, has evolved into one of the most powerful and wealthiest criminal organizations in the world. Unlike its Sicilian counterpart, the Cosa Nostra, the Ndrangheta operates with an intensely family-oriented structure, with clans linked by blood ties that ensure loyalty and secrecy. By the 20th century, they had established themselves as dominant players in international drug trafficking, controlling an estimated 80% of Europe's cocaine trade and generating billions annually. Their wealth stems largely from the cocaine trade, where their global reach is unparalleled. The Ndrangheta has direct connections with South American cartels, allowing them to import vast quantities of drugs into Europe. They also profit from extortion, money laundering, arms smuggling, and corruption, often investing their illicit earnings into legitimate businesses. Their financial tentacles stretch across construction, real estate, and tourism, providing them with the means to launder billions and further entrench themselves in the global economy. Power within the Ndrangheta comes from their ability to operate in near-total secrecy. Their tightly knit familial bonds make infiltration by law enforcement exceedingly difficult. They exercise control over entire regions in Calabria, exerting influence on local governments, businesses, and even law enforcement agencies. Internationally, they maintain a presence in North and South America, Australia, and Europe, using these bases to expand their operations and protect their interests. The crimes of the Ndrangheta are notorious for their brutality. Their enforcement methods include kidnappings, bombings, and assassinations, often targeting rivals or those who challenge their authority. They are also deeply involved in human trafficking and environmental crimes, such as illegal waste disposal, which have caused significant ecological and societal harm in Italy. Their control over vast cocaine markets has fueled addiction and violence across Europe, with devastating societal consequences. The legacy of the Ndrangheta is one of global dominance and insidious influence. They have become the archetype of modern organized crime, decentralized, adaptable, and deeply embedded in both criminal and legitimate enterprises. Despite major crackdowns by Italian and international law enforcement, they remain a powerful force, demonstrating the enduring capacity of organized crime to adapt and thrive in the globalized world. 2. The Chicago Outfit, USA, 1910s present. The Chicago Outfit, also known as the Outfit, is one of the most infamous American crime syndicates, with its origins rooted in the Prohibition era. Founded by Italian-American gangsters like Johnny Torrio and later led by the legendary Al Capone, the Outfit dominated Chicago's criminal underworld through a combination of ruthless violence, political corruption, and financial ingenuity. Unlike the Five Families of New York, the Outfit operated as a unified organization, controlling nearly all organized crime in Chicago and much of the Midwest. The Outfit amassed immense wealth during Prohibition, 1920 to 1933, by smuggling and distributing alcohol. Post-Prohibition, they diversified into illegal gambling, loan sharking, drug trafficking, and prostitution. They also controlled labor unions, allowing them to extort businesses and rig contracts. This infiltration of legitimate enterprises enabled them to launder vast sums of money, further entrenching their influence in Chicago's economy. Their wealth was not merely confined to criminal enterprises. They invested heavily in real estate, casinos, and other legitimate businesses, securing their financial power for decades. The Outfit's power was rooted in its ability to corrupt public officials. They bribed police officers, judges, and politicians, ensuring protection for their operations and minimizing legal repercussions. They also maintained strict control over their territory, using intimidation and violence to suppress rival gangs and keep associates in line. Their influence extended beyond Chicago, with connections to other crime families and syndicates across the United States. Their crimes were as audacious as they were numerous. From the infamous St. Valentine's Day massacre of 1929, where they brutally eliminated rivals, to large-scale racketeering operations, the Outfit became synonymous with organized crime. They were also heavily involved in sports betting scandals, notably fixing the 1919 World Series, a crime that shocked the nation. Despite the death of Al Capone and subsequent leadership changes, the Outfit adapted and survived, continuing to profit from illicit activities into the 21st century. The legacy of the Chicago Outfit is one of notoriety and cultural impact. They set the template for modern organized crime in America, blending violence, corruption, and business savvy. Their influence has been immortalized in films, books, and popular culture, cementing their place as one of history's most infamous criminal organizations. Though diminished today, the Outfit's shadow still looms over Chicago's underworld. 1. The Cosa Nostra, Sicily, 1860s present. The Cosa Nostra, or Sicilian Mafia, is arguably the most iconic and globally recognized organized crime group in history. Emerging in the mid-19th century in Sicily, it began as a loose confederation of clans offering protection to landowners and merchants. Over time, it evolved into a sophisticated criminal enterprise, using violence and intimidation to dominate Sicily's economy and later expanding its influence internationally, particularly in the United States. The Cosa Nostra's wealth has been built on a foundation of extortion, racketeering, drug trafficking, and money laundering. They introduced the concept of pizzo, protection money, which allowed them to extract wealth from local businesses. Their involvement in the global heroin trade during the mid-20th century was particularly lucrative, with Sicily becoming a major hub for refining and exporting the drug. They also infiltrated construction and public works, earning billions through bid rigging and embezzlement. Their power lies in their strict hierarchical structure and code of silence, omerta, which ensures loyalty and secrecy. At their peak, the Cosa Nostra controlled not only Sicily but also wielded significant influence in Italy's national politics, often bribing or intimidating officials to protect their operations. Internationally, they forged alliances with other crime syndicates, particularly the American Mafia, to expand their reach and profits. The crimes of the Cosa Nostra are infamous for their brutality. They have been responsible for countless murders, including the high-profile assassinations of anti-mafia judges Giovanni Falcone and Paolo Borsellino in the 1990s. These killings marked a turning point in Italy's battle against organized crime, prompting widespread public outrage and government crackdowns. Their involvement in drug trafficking, human smuggling, and environmental crimes has had far-reaching consequences, affecting communities worldwide. The legacy of the Cosa Nostra is one of both infamy and decline. While they once symbolized the global reach of organized crime, sustained efforts by Italian authorities have significantly weakened their power. However, the Cosa Nostra remains a potent force in Sicily and beyond, demonstrating the resilience of organized crime even in the face of relentless opposition. Their history serves as a cautionary tale of how corruption, violence, and greed can infiltrate and destabilize societies. These families lived by their own rules and died by their own choices. Yet, their legacies, entangled in power, wealth, and corruption, still captivate us to this day. Which family do you think ruled with the greatest iron fist? And which left the most lasting impact on history? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of crime, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another dark tale from history. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.